Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pram to all of you, and welcome to today's class. We shall be covering chapter 13, Shesh Kshetra Ki Vibhag Yog, or the nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness. It's a very complex subject, in fact, as a matter of fact, and quite philosophical in approach. So I'll try to finish this chapter today, but if not possible, then I'll have to break and make it two parts, that is today and tomorrow again, because understanding of this basic subject is basic knowledge is very, very essential for understanding the Bhakti Yoga or any other part of yoga. So before we start, let us pray to Shri Radha Govinda, the presiding deity at Radha Govinda Temple at Mangalore, Puri. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Jnananjan Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharni Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasha Deshtarne. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakt Vrinda. He Krishna Karna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapti Kanchan Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrashbhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. So welcome to today's class, chapter 13. The name of chapter is, my voice is clear?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji. Nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness. The nature we know is the material nature of Prakriti. The enjoyer, the Purush, who is enjoying the material nature or overall enjoyer. And the consciousness, we know that the consciousness stands for soul. So these are three subjects which are combined together and details explained by Lord Krishna here. If Bhakti, now the question is that Bhakti is sandwiched between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So why Bhakti is sandwiched? We know that it is the most relishable, sweet, and precious part of or section of the entire Bhagavadgita or love of song of Lord Krishna. That is why it is kept. We keep most secret things at a very safe and secure place. That is why it is in between. So then the basic purpose of Bhakti Yoga is that all Karma Yoga should ultimately lead to Bhakti, and all kind of Jnana should lead to culminate into Bhakti. So that is the basic purpose. From two directions we are approaching, but Bhakti Yoga in itself is the supreme and the best. We have heard from Lord Krishna in chapter 7 and from chapter 7 to 12 in almost each chapter. If Bhakti is a culmination, why is Jnana presented in the last 6 chapters? In truth, the entire Bhagavad Gita is Bhakti. The first 6 chapters discuss how to achieve Bhakti through work or karma, and the last 6 describe how to achieve through knowledge or jnana. And the middle 6 discuss Bhakti itself. So the basic purpose of karma and jnana is to ultimately culminate into pure devotional service. Also in the 12th chapter, Krishna explained how he personally delivers his devotees from birth and death. Mrityu Sansar Sagrat. Krishna said that I deliver you, and how he delivers and whom he delivers, what qualities he loves in the devotees, that was mentioned there in chapter 12. So the last 6 chapters provide the philosophical knowledge necessary to extricate oneself from the material world. We know that we are conditioned soul, we are embodied living entity, and the soul is embodied by this material body. So how to know that we are not this body? This is just an outer case. We are really, in fact, soul, and how to detach ourselves from the material world and attach to Krishna. That is the knowledge, philosophical knowledge, which is given in the last 6 chapter, chapter number 13 to 18. Jnana has its use in assisting our detachment from Maya and attachment to Krishna. That is the goal. As we should use we use knowledge as a means to attain devotion, it becomes a part of bhakti. So Gyan is not a bad thing. Of course, it is very difficult to attain, but whatever knowledge we attain, there should be used for development of devotional service, or should be a part of the. So in this chapter, Arjuna asks 6 questions. He is very inquisitive, and through him we are learning those things. He asks 2 P's, 2 K's, and 2 J's. What is Prakriti? Answer Krishna gives that Prakriti is material nature. And why he created this material nature? So that living entities can fulfill their desires, or their senses may be gratified by coming in contact with the material nature. And who is the Purush? Purush is the enjoyer. Enjoyer of what? The Prakriti, or the material nature. And there are 2 Purush. One is the individual person, the living entity, and the other enjoyer is the supreme enjoyer, who is Lord Krishna. You remember that he said that he is the supreme enjoyer of all yajna and tapasas. So there are 2 enjoyers, Purush. There are 2 Purush, individual Purush, and the supreme person, Lord Krishna, who is enjoyer. And unfortunately, we consider ourselves to be the enjoyer of the material nature. We want to master over, or the Lord over the material nature, and we think we are enjoying. But real enjoyer is Krishna only. Then comes 3rd question is what is Kshetra? Kshetra is the body, or Shariram. The material body of living entity is Kshetra. It is also called as field of activity. And we will discuss about this material body, how it is composed, and what is its role in relation to soul and supersoul in after verses. Then Kshetra, one who knows about the field of activity, and who knows the soul and the super soul. They are seated inside our material body, and they are actually the knower of all things. The individual soul knows about, there are again, Kshetra 2, soul and super soul. So soul knows about the individual body or material body, and the super soul knows about all the living entities' bodies. Then next, 5th question is Jnanam, or what is the knowledge? Understanding Kshetra and Kshetragya. That means understanding the material body, the soul and super soul. That is the Jnana. That is the knowledge one has to attain. And what is Gayam? The goal of knowledge, all knowledge, is super soul. Goal of all knowledge is super soul, which is also known as Paramatma. And Paramatma is seated in the heart of every living entity. So these are 6 questions in coming verses. Lord Krishna is going to answer these questions. This is a summary table of those. Now in 1 and 2, Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti and Purush, the enjoyer, and the field of activities, the knower of the field, and of knowledge, and the end of knowledge." The blessed Lord then said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field." So the first question is answered. This body, or this material body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and the one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. So this body is, now we know that there are 5 important themes of Bhagavad Gita which were discussed during the first chapter. What are those 5 themes on which Bhagavad Gita is based? Any devotee would like to answer? 5 themes of Bhagavad Gita. Why there is silence? Please, you can type in the chat box, you can raise your hand, you can answer straight away by unmuting. Please. Yes? Anyone? You are not audible.
Material nature.
Material nature, yes, Prakriti.
And Kal.
Or time, yes, Kal. 2.
Karma,
very nice. 3. 4.
And the Supreme Lord.
Sorry?
Divine.
Supreme Lord.
Yeah, Ishwar and Jiva. Right? So Ishwar, Jiva, Ishwar, Kal, Karm, and Prakriti. These are the 5 main themes, subjects of the thematic subjects of Bhagavad Gita. So Lord is going to detail on these subjects in furthermore in this chapter. So we have, by the table, we have learned What are two Ks? Kshetra and Kshetragya. Then two Ps, Purush and the enjoyer and the Prakriti, and Jnanam or the knowledge, and then what is the object of knowledge or the Gyam. That is, these are the 6 questions which have been asked by Arjuna to Krishna. Yeah, anybody would like to read this verse, 13.3?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please continue.
क्षेत्रज्ञानां चापि मां विद्धि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानं यत् तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you. This is my opinion. What is this opinion? You should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. Now, just now we mentioned that the individual knower is the soul of an individual living entity, because that is encased in the body. So individual knower is the soul, and super soul is present in the heart of all living entities, and he is the supreme knower. That I am also the knower in all bodies. He is the supreme knower. And to understand this body and its owner is called knowledge. So understand the material body and who is the owner? Owner is basically the soul and super soul. Both are owners here. So they are knowing them, knowing what is material body, what is soul, what is super soul. This is knowledge. That is my opinion. In this picture, you can see there are 3 pictures are given. A person here is awake. He's doing some kind of work on a computer system, and a lady is watching. So there is a soul, individual soul represented in blue figure, and this another soul, another figure is there, and that is super soul residing in the heart. Now, in this is called Jagrat Avastha. Person is awake, wide awake. So his soul is active, his super soul is active, his mind is active, and his senses are also active, right, in this state. Now, there are 2 stages of sleep. One stage, in the first picture, you can see mild sleep or a stage of dreaming stage, and there is a deep sleep. You see, in mild sleep, the soul, super soul, both are active. Mind is active because mind is still working. Some imagination or some kind of dream is still going on. So, and this is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, that in mild sleep state or dreaming state, both mind is active, soul and super soul active. Those senses are not active here. But what is happening in the mind? We are dreaming. We are, carrying some impressions of daytime, and that is being recaptured here again during mild sleep. And third stage is deep sleep, which is called Sushupta state. And Sushupta state, the mind is on rest, the senses are on rest, but the soul and living, this super soul, they are active. So this is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, in that there are 3 stages consciousness happens. First is awake state, then second is mild sleep state or dreaming state, and third is deep sleep state. And now, anybody can you describe what you see in this picture? On right hand top and the sky and the ground. Can you describe what is this?
Kshetra.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, please be loud.
Kshetra दिखा है.
This is a field. You can see the field is here, right? Why there is no response?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mataji, try to explain whatever you see in this picture. Notice and don't relate with what the subject matter of this chapter. Just what are you seeing here?
The field, maybe during the sunset time or something, different colors.
Anyway, so you can see there is some kind of field over here. There is sky, clouds, and there is sun also. The sun is spreading its light or sunshine all over the field. irrespective to which part belongs to whom. Now, what you see now, you see there is a farmer who is working in a field. And the farmer possesses a limited area of land as his farm field, right? And he's working the field. So this is individual field of activity or material body of an individual person, which is compared to individual field. And there are multiple fields of which probably he may not be knowing. So there are multiple farmers who are holding land, farming land in this area, but this person does not know because he is individual soul. Individual soul knows about the field of activity of his own material body. It does not know the material body or the soul of all other entities who are around in this field, vast expanse of field. But there is sun, you can see. The sun knows all the farmers, all the fields, and all doers. Sun knows all the souls, all the material bodies, in other words. Is it clear? Living entity represents soul, basically. And this field represents field of activity or material body. So there are such many combinations in this field over in the expanse of this land. And who is knowing? The individual person knows, and the individual soul knows about the field of activity or the material body of his own only, his self only. Whereas the sun knows about the souls of all the living entities, the material body of all the entities, and so sun represents super soul. Super soul, we know, we are the soul and super soul, both are fragmented spiritual spark, transcendental spark of Lord himself. So Lord knows about all the living entities, their material bodies, their soul, and because he is present in the heart of each and everyone as a super soul. So he knows everything. Now, this picture is a sage, maybe we say Vedas, he's writing, compiling Vedas and scriptures. That knowledge of the field of activities of the knower of the activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings or scriptures rather. The field of activities means the bodies, and the knower of the activities, is soul and also the super soul, because supreme knower is the supreme personality of Godhead. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect, Bhagavadgita 13.5. Now we shall take up one by one. Vedanta Sutra, that was the last but one scripture written before Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedanta Sutra was written. Sutra means certain kind of code. We know these days there are a lot of codes. The messages are used sent in codes, and they are decoded by the receiver, and then they understand. So sutra is basically code. So each sutra has got a lot of science behind it, a lot of philosophy behind it, and also explains the cause and effect relationship of all the sutras. Like, for example, I'll just narrate one sutra of Vedanta Sutra, and that is Athat Brahma Jigyasa. What is the basic nature or basic duty of each living entity? Athat Brahma Jigyasa. The inquisitiveness to understand Brahma or the soul. We know this Brahman has got three meanings: the material nature, the living entity, and the soul also, soul of the living entity. So these Vedanta Sutra, now what our sages have written becomes evidence. And on the basis of this evidence, we preach, and also we attain certain kind of knowledge, spiritual knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada, in fact, is a perfect example of this thing, because whatever he has written, or whatever translation or puppet he has written, is based on evidences. Evidences created by our sages, our great rishis, in their tremendous knowledge, and which was mature and out of conclusion of so many scriptures and all those things. So these quotes, basically, Vedanta Sutra describes how the 84 lakh species are taking place, how one is sliding to lower form, or how one is sliding up to a higher form of life. So this is the basic Vedanta Sutra. And so the basic purpose of this human life is to know who am I, why I have come here, and what is my role here, and what is the ultimate destination for me. So this is the purpose of knowing this basic. Now, all this knowledge has come from Krishna. Krishna gave sage Ved all kind of knowledge. In fact, so Krishna does not need, when he speaks something, when he is telling anything to Arjuna, he does not need to support what he's saying from the scriptures, because he is the source of knowledge. That source of knowledge was collected by great sages in the form of scriptures, and our acharyas, they speak on basis of these scriptures. They are which is evidence-based. And Srila Prabhupada has got all authority to quote from all because he is also, whatever he has said is based on evidences created by our learned sages. So there are 5 levels of human consciousness. We come to next subject of this topic. So there are 5 levels of consciousness, human consciousness. First is Annamaya. Second is Pranamaya. Annamaya means the consciousness for food only. So this is the lowest level of consciousness, and it is very typical of animals. But animals have got another, some other qualities also. So what is this Annamaya Kosh? Annamaya Kosh, the consciousness to sustain this life form. And how we sustain? By consuming some kind of food. So the consciousness is limited to food only, and it is very, very typical of animals or small, for example, take example of a small baby. Now, whenever he is hungry, he will start crying because he is hungry. He needs food, and the moment the baby is fed, the crying stops. So the consciousness for food is there in a small child because no other consciousness at that level is developed. Then second comes Pranmaya. Pranmaya means the consciousness to sustain life by process of breathing. And, breathing is essential. Breathing stops when person is no more, or the soul leaves the body, the consciousness goes, and that at the same time, respiration also stops. So second stage is, besides food, the consciousness in relation to divine is related to food, need for food, and also need for breathing. That is Pranamaya Kosh. So it is slightly higher as compared to Annamaya Kosh. Then third is Jnanmaya Kosh. So yeah, in this Pranamaya Kosh, if there is an animal, like let us take example of a dog. Dog has got Annamaya and the Pranamaya Kosh also, Pranamaya consciousness also. If we hit, then it wants to save its life or its pran or its breathing process, and it runs away. So this is example for Pranamaya. The Jnanmaya means Manomaya or Jnanmaya. Then that means there is besides food, breathing, there is also mind. And what is the function of mind? Does anybody know what is the function of mind? Any guess?
Thinking, sir.
Yes, Mataji, thinking, very nice. This is one function. Then 3 functions of mind, that is thinking, willing, and feeling. Mind carries out 3 functions. So this is a slightly higher level of consciousness, because thinking, willing, and feeling besides food and breathing are taking place. So this is Jnanmaya Course. Then comes Vijnanmaya Course, Vijnanmaya consciousness. Vijnanmaya means application of knowledge is called Vijnan. Application of knowledge, or the science of application of knowledge, is called Vijnan. So Vijnan is basically, it is a higher level of consciousness. In this, there is Sat and Chit, but there is no Anand. Sat Chit means there is eternity and there is knowledge. Vijnan means, as I told you, the application of knowledge. So the knowledge is that who am I, why I've come here, why I'm suffering, what is my ultimate goal, what is the objective of this life. So this is Sat and Chit state. But the person is in a state of Vijnanmaya state. And the last stage is Anandamaya Kosh. This is the highest perfection. In this state, Sat, Chit, Anand, that is knowledge, eternity, and bliss, eternal bliss that is present. Such a person is situated transcendentally, and he is not affected by material mode of material natures, and he is basically in a state of transcendence and renders devotional service. When he is Anandamaya, state is consciousness is attained when he is in a pure devotional service. So these are 5 stages of our consciousness. Why it is important? Because the field of activity, the mind and soul, all are related to this level of consciousness. What kind of consciousness our soul has? Super soul is beyond, is transcendental. It is beyond 3 modes of material nature. It is not affected by, we know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he controls the 3 modes of material nature. So he is above 3 modes because he is the creator. So creator is above his creation. The 13.6 to 7, 6 and 7 says that the 5 great elements. Now, now Krishna is answering how this material body is made. The 5 great elements, false ego, intelligence, and unmanifested, the 10 senses, the mind, the 5 senses, sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, and aggregate, the life symptoms, and the convictions, all these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interaction. Now we know that our body is made up of 24 elements. There are 5 gross elements or 5 Mahabhut. What are these? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Then 5 sense organs of actions and 5 sense organs of perception. Actions are, the voice or the mouth, then hand, leg, the organs of reproduction and organs of defecation or evacuation. So these are 5 organs of action. Then 5 organs of perception. That is acquiring knowledge, knowledge acquiring senses. And these are eye, ear, nose, mouth or tongue, and of course our skin. So these are related to 5 objects of senses. In relation to eye, there is a form, vision or the form. In relation to ear, there is sound. In relation to nose, there is smell. And in relation to tongue, there is taste. Right? So these are, and skin, of course, a touch. So these are 5 sense objects. So we have talked about five gross elements, 5 organs of action, 5 sense organs of perception, and 5 objects of sense objects. So these are 20. Then mind, intelligence, and false ego, that makes 23. And 24th element is Pradhan. In Hindi, it is called Pradhan, or rather Sanskrit. So it is Pradhan, and Pradhan means the unmanifest state of 3 modes of material nature. In fact, when a person, the baby is born, the soul is as pure, pristine, and nirvikar and shant, so that it is not influenced by the any mode of material nature. But when it comes in contact with material nature, it acquires certain mode, which may be mode of goodness, mode of passion, or maybe mode of ignorance. So these are 24 elements which make up the material body. So now this question comes, but the Krishna consciousness or pure devotional service is above these 24 elements, because these 24 elements are basically binding agents. They bind one to the cycle of birth and death, and they promote one to act into actions which result into reactions. So the field of activity is when we say that our body is material and Krishna's body is transcendental, that means that Krishna's body is not made up of these 24 elements. These are material elements, right? So in the next verse, verse number 8 to 12, these are 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. These are 5 verses. Krishna answers this knowledge and the jnanam in great details. But Krishna, the knowledge cannot be attained by everybody. A person has to have certain kinds of saintly qualities. Saintly qualities means pure qualities, pure basic soft skills or knowledge can be acquired by a person who has got certain, not by demonic qualities, but divine qualities. And what are these qualities? These are 20 elements which are expressed here. First is humility. Humility is first essential feature for attaining any kind of knowledge. Pridelessness, amanitvam, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, suchi, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, and old age and disease, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, that detachment, freedom from the entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness, equanimity amid pleasant and unpleasant events, that is a state of its dhir muni, and constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be the knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. So knowledge is about these saintly qualities. Now, who can attain this knowledge? A person who is imbibed with these 20 saintly qualities. Those are, and out of these 20, first 18 are meant for jnanis and devotees both. But last two qualities, that is the accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. These are related to jnanis only. They are for people who are jnanis only on path of jnana yoga. And these all first 18 qualities, they relate to both jnana. That means jnani must possess all the 20 qualities, saintly qualities, for attaining perfection in knowledge. And the devotees must possess even above 18 qualities in order to attain this perfect knowledge. So you can see how important it is for us to be so truthful, to be so humble, prideless, non-violent, tolerant, simple, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, suchi, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of objects of sense gratification. So all these qualities are essential for devotees in order to attain pure devotional service. And these are basically described here. Each one is mentioned in detailed. Humility means not to be anxious to have satisfaction of being honored. It is a different meaning here, amanitvam. Then pridelessness is understanding you are not the body, and thus honor and dishonor are the same. Because soul is not affected by anything. Soul is not affected by honor or dishonor or success or failure. Non-violence is unless one elevates people to spiritual knowledge, one is practicing violence. So person only who are involved in spiritual practice, they are considered to be known. So this is a different meaning is given. Arjavam, or that simplicity, so straightforward that you can disclose the truth even to an enemy. So these are some of the saintly qualities which are required to attain knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of this material body, knowledge of soul, and knowledge of super soul. So these are basically, now naturally somebody might be having a doubt, how no entanglement with wife, children, and family. In Krishna consciousness, it is not, it is defined in it or interpreted in a different manner. Should practice if you can do it in a Krishna consciousness, but renounce if unfavorable for Krishna. So that means what is Krishna consciousness way of having no entanglement, wife, children, family, and because each individual is a living entity by itself. Now, a representative of and part parcel of Krishna in the form of soul, super soul is present in their heart. So we have a duty as per Varna and Ashrama, we should execute their duty which is prescribed. So these are all basic 20 qualities as I mentioned you. Now, Lord says that I shall now explain the knowledge, knowing which you will taste the eternal Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Now, we know whatever we do results into certain kind of reaction. Every action has reaction. But soul and super soul, which are part of Krishna or fragmented segments or small segment of Krishna, they are, or spark of Krishna, they are beyond the cause and effect of material world. They are not affected. They may become conditioned by coming in contact with material nature, but they may we get covered with three modes of material nature, but they are not basically, affected by the cause and effect relationship. So now Krishna is going to explain in these verses. So earlier verse was 13.8 to 12, saintly qualities. These are saintly qualities which are required. And thereafter, now Krishna is going to describe furthermore about what is to be known or the knowledge. Yes, Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Please continue.
Sarvendriya gunabhasam sarvendriya vivarjitam asaktam sarva bhrakchaiva nirgunam gunabhoktracha. Hare Krishna
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Very nicely recited. So the basic purpose of knowledge is to disentangle our soul from this material body. We know that we are embodied. Embodied, the soul is within this piece of material body. So how to practice devotional service in such a way that we are able to identify or separate our soul from the body. And so this is the knowledge. And this comes through practice and detachment from material nature. In 15, Lord Krishna is now describing, he is giving superior knowledge. The super soul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached. Although he is the maintainer of all living beings, he transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all modes of material nature. We know Krishna is the controller of all three modes of material nature. So Krishna is creator. The creator is here compared to the super soul who is present in the heart of all living beings. So living beings have got super soul. So super soul is not affected by three modes of material nature, but soul is affected. Super soul is the original source of all senses, because all sources of the senses or senses of actions and perception, they have been created by super soul or supreme personality of Godhead. He is without senses. Super soul does not have eye, ears, or legs, or neither actions or no perception senses. Now, Lord, all sense organs are transcendental. They are not like our we have material senses, which are defective basically. Lord's senses are transcendental. He can perform any function from his any sense organ. Like from eye, he can eat. From ear, he can talk. So this is meant here. Super soul does not have any senses. Yet he has all senses. He is the source of all senses. Unattached, that means he is not. It is nirlipt. Although he is the maintainer of all living beings, he transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all modes of nature. We have seen that picture, you will remember. Krishna was there, and there were mode of goodness, the three ladies with puppet-like structures, and all living entities were playing under the threads of puppets, like puppets in the hand of mode of material nature, but that is mode of goodness and mode of passion and mode of ignorance. So that means super soul does not have any sense. It is not influenced. It is eternal. It is without any. It controls all the functions of the soul as well as the. Now, this is in relation to the soul. So this is in relation to super soul. Now, in verse 16, Krishna says the supreme truth exists both internally and externally in the moving and the non-moving. He is beyond the power of material senses to see or to know. Although he is far, far away, he is also near to all. So this is a beautiful Srila Jiva Goswami's Achint Bhed Abhed philosophy or principle, in which there are contradictory statements, but they are apparent contradiction only. It is not real contradiction, because when Lord says something, it cannot be incorrect or it can't be contradictory. It must be true both ways. So super soul is present inside and outside. Now, super soul is present inside and outside because we know super soul is present in our heart, it is outside, it is present in the heart of all living entities, right? So this is beautifully explained in Ishopanishad, verse number 5, where Lord Krishna says that, that there is attributes of Krishna described in this verse. Krishna walks, yet he does not walk. Yes, he does not walk because he is transcendently situated in Goloka Vrindavan, but he walks because he is present in the heart of living entities who are walking. So Krishna walks, yet he does not walk. He hears, he is near, yet he is very far off. Yes, he is very far off in Goloka Vrindavan, the highest of the planet, and he is near because he is near, so near to the soul that he is just in the heart also, very close to the soul, and he is inside and outside of everything. So this contradiction is beautifully described as Achint Bhed Abhed principle and by Srila Jiva Goswami, and substantiated in Ishopanishad verse number 4 and 5 also. So this is the apparent contradiction, but it is all truth. Whatever Lord says, it can't be untrue. So then verse number 16, again the same, the supreme this again same picture is given here, and you can see that Krishna is here in the 4-arm form, Narayan form. And what is happening here? Can anybody describe? Any devotee? Any idea what pastime is this picture giving?
Uh, uh,
Yes.
this all getting into taking a form of like when it takes birth, Narayana means is also like the soul and already uh, is covered with the a form of like either living entity.
Yes, there's a nice interpretation. Anyone else would like to try? Any idea? What is that?
Krishna is trying to protect Parikshit Maharaj, I guess.
You're very close to it, totally. So this is Uttra's womb, Abhimanyu's wife, and Ashwatthama sent because he was the last living Pandava who was there. So he thought, if I kill Uttra's baby who is still in the womb, then the Pandava dynasty will be over. But Abhimanyu and Arjun, they were pure devotees of Lord Krishna, pure Vaishnavas. So what happens that Krishna enters into the womb. You can see the Lord Krishna entering into the womb of Uttara, and he protects this fetus or embryo from getting killed by Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama was very powerful. He had something like Sudarshan Chakra, which nobody, or Brahmastra rather, not really Sudarshan Chakra. It was Brahmastra which he had thrown to kill this baby who was still in the womb of Uttara. So Lord is inside yet outside. He did not disappear from outside when he was there in the battlefield. So he is outside as well as inside, and he protected the baby of Uttara, Abhimanyu's wife, by entering into the womb and neutralizing or nullifying the Brahmastra by his Sudarshan Chakra. Right? So this is beautiful pastime. Verse 13. There are in fact 35 verses in this chapter. So if all of you agree, for a better understanding, we can split this chapter into 2 parts. The second part we may discuss tomorrow, so that we can have a lot of questions also, because it is a philosophical, very complex subject to understand. So if everybody is agreeable, we can have 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. So we'll stop at verse number 20, and probably then we'll continue tomorrow again, so that we do not overshoot the time also. So verse 13.18, in fact, the verses in Sanskrit and the English, they have been omitted because to cover up maximum within the possible time. It's not a subject matter which can be covered in 1 hour time or in 1 day. It's vast. In 18, he says, he is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter, and he is unmanifested. He is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge, and he is the goal of knowledge, and he is situated in everyone's heart. He is talking about the super soul. Krishna Krishna is present in the heart of every living entity in the form of super soul. So he is the source of light in all luminous. What are those luminous objects we see now in our day-to-day life?
Sun.
Sun and moon also, Mataji, right? So he is the
Yes.
source of light. The sun and moon are deriving light from Krishna's effulgence of the Krishna's bodies. He is beyond the darkness of matter. Matter, this material nature of Prakriti is the darkest feature of Lord's creation, because individual living entity gets bound to it, gets attracted to it, tries to fulfill its desires and indulges in sense gratification of self, wants to enjoy this material nature, wants to lord over this material nature. This is my land, this is my property. So material nature does not belong to any individual. It is Lord's creation, it belongs to Lord. So this is what is said in Ishavasya, Islam Sarvam, Ishavasya principles. Lord says, whatever is even the smallest ant to minus dust particle which is present in the material world belongs to me. I am the controller and the creator of that world. So he is the source, he is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge, he is the object of knowledge, and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everybody's heart, and he is in the form of super soul. So you can see this source of light is Krishna. The person who is working here or using this light is again Krishna, because Krishna is present here in the heart of this person. And the knowledge which he is getting is also the goal, is also Krishna. And he is situated in everybody's heart. So yesterday we talked about a shloka from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna hai Suryasam, Maya hai Andhikar. Krishna, illusion or ignorance is like darkness. Krishna hai Suryasam, Maya hai Andhikar. Jahan Krishna, tahan nahi Maya Adhikar. There is no illusion where there is Krishna. So Krishna is always in the form of light in our heart. He is in the form of super soul and he is guiding. But are we desirous of taking instruction from the super soul? No. Our soul is under control of the mind, and mind is under control of not intelligence but the senses. So senses are dictating mind. Mind is dictating the intelligence. And intelligence is not dictating mind, so it is, and the soul is enjoying, soul wants to enjoy as per mode of nature. So all these senses, mind and intelligence, they all club together to make soul happy. Where is the super soul? Are we asking super soul? Do we ask super soul whether this is just or unjust? Should I do this thing or not do this thing? Is it auspicious or inauspicious? So this darkness, wherever there is sun or moon, there is no darkness. Similarly, wherever there is Krishna, there is no darkness of ignorance. We have got material eyes. We are suffering from cataract. Cataract, the person who is suffering from cataract cannot have a perfect vision. He can't see things correctly as they are in their correct perspective. So our state is like this. We are materially blind. Because like Dhritarashtra was not only materially, physically blind, he was also spiritually also blind, So same thing is that Krishna, we have to consider that everything should be by the permission of the super soul, who is like a loving father. In coming verses, we'll talk about this. So this is how knowledge is flowing, the light is flowing. In verse 13.19, Krishna says, thus the field of activity is the body. That is our material body, that is Kshetra, the knowledge, the Jnanam, and the knowable, that is the Gay, have been similarly described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature. So this is again an assurance, divine assurance from Krishna that they can attain my nature. Attain my nature, they can become transcendental. So how can we become, what is the benefit of knowledge? We can attain transcendental knowledge only by mercy of Lord Krishna. But how the process is, the knowledge of field, what is the field of activity, what is the knowledge, and what is the jnanam, and what is the gayam. So Field of activity is our material body. The knowledge is about the soul and super soul and the material body. And then Gayam is the super soul. The super soul is controlling everything. That is the Gayam, or the object of knowledge. In verse 20, he says, material nature and living entities should be understood to be beginningless. They are eternal. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature. So this is a slightly complicated statement. Just let us understand. Material nature and the living entity. Material nature is Prakriti, and living entities are the Purusha. Should be understood to be beginningless. Why this material nature? Nobody knows when it was created and how it was created. Of course, Lord created. This much is known. And what about the living entities? When we talk about living entities, we are talking about soul, not the material body. So both, and when was first living entity was born? We know the first living entity is Lord Brahma, who was the creation of expansion of avatar of Krishna in the form of Purusha avatars. The Karnakdakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, a lotus stem sprang up. On the top of those lotus flower, Lord Brahma was born. So we know that he is the first living entity. And we call Krishna Par Pitamaha and Lord Brahma as Pitamaha, because he is the creator, secondary creator. Krishna is the original creator. So the soul and living entity means soul, and the material nature both are understood to be beginningless. They had, when they begin, nobody knows, there is no beginning them, and they are eternal. Their transformations and the mode of matter are products of material nature. So whatever is happening now, we are acting, and their actions result into some kind of relationship. So that is why these species or different human forms are generated. You can see in this picture, these are, you can say it is kind of evolution from small life forms like amoeba and insects and worms, to then there is, these are aquatic animals, then there are, there are two-legged animals, and then there are this aquatic life, then there are four two-legged and then four-legged animals, and ultimately a human being, and Lord Krishna is along with his consort Radharani are there watching all these things. Why this transformation is taking place? Because of our intense desires which are unfulfilled. We want to fulfill those desires, and there is certain karma, history of our karma carried over of previous many births. So that is deciding our life forms in life after 5. And we are oscillating in the cycle of, swinging between the life, the cycle of birth and death thereby. And we know that there are 84 lakh species. Out of these 84 lakh species, animal and beasts, they are 30 lakhs. Then plants and trees, they are 20 lakhs. Then insects are 11 lakhs. And after insect, there are birds, which are 10 lakhs. And there are aquatic life, that is waterborne, they are 9 lakhs. And only 4 lakhs living species in the form of human beings. So evolution is so difficult, but once one attains a human body, it does not mean he can't fall down to a lower form of his species. And for us, this is the biggest fear of human race, falling down to a lower form of his species or life form. That is the biggest danger, biggest apprehension, biggest fear, biggest shock, whatever you call it. So falling down to lower form of life is biggest tragedy for all. So I would like, it is around 10 o'clock now, just 4 minutes to, because the remaining 15 chapters will take another 45 minutes. So I will stop here. If there is any query or any doubt or any correction, modification or suggestion, observation, please come forth in relation to what we have talked about. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Audible, Prabhu.
Yeah, so can we have some questions? Because this is a very philosophical chapter and very long also. Lot to be explained, lot to be understood, and lot to be analyzed. for our own understanding. So you can put questions. Yes, Prabhuji, Mataji, anyone? Any doubt or anything that you feel is not clear or needs certain kind of explanation? Yes, Gangadhar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. The subject matter is very complex. You
Yes.
must be feeling.
Right.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, sometimes when mind is wanting something, at that time there is some inner voice which tells, no, it is not correct. So what is that inner voice? That is intelligence or that is the voice of soul?
Intelligence, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, can you feel the conduct of the soul in any manner?
Soul, we are living because of the soul only. The consciousness, our consciousness is due to our soul. It is a feature of soul. And in fact, your first question was partly answered. Intelligence, of course. Why intelligence is altered when we do something wrong? Because we have acquired certain mode of material nature by, let us go to the cycle of birth and death. How does birth, at the time of birth, the soul is completely shashvat. It is eternal. It is peaceful. It is nirvikar. There is no vikar in it. So the Chetana at that moment, when a baby is taking birth, is totally pure. You must have noticed that a small child sometimes cries in sleep, sometimes he smiles, sometimes laughs, because Chetana is very pure. He's seeing all kind of, he's in a mode of transcendence at that stage. But
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I just want to interrupt Prabhuji. But along with the soul, the subtle body has also entered.
I'm coming to Prabhuji, that is what I'm going to tell you. Now, why this person has taken a birth? Because there were certain, past karmas and also certain desires which were unfulfilled, and there were certain desires at the time of leaving body. We saw that in the case of Ajamila. He called Narayana. Unconsciously, he did not mean Lord Narayana, he meant his son Narayana. So when this body is leaving, that the body leaves, the soul along with subtle body carries, what is subtle body? Subtle body is composed of mind and intelligence and false ego. So along with soul, these are going. Now when the soul is looked upon, Krishna takes a glance at the soul. He understands what kind of desires and propensities this soul is carrying along with this subtle body. Then immediately Krishna looks at the soul, and the material nature of Prakriti facilitates a form of life which is in accordance with it, subtle body, desires of the subtle body and the soul. So this body is granted in the subsequent, verses. We'll come to know how this body is facilitated by material nature, and how Krishna gives us the next form of life. So material body or Krishna has got nothing to do with what we are. We are the cause of our suffering and happiness, or birth or death. We are responsible because we have got a tendency to enjoy ourselves separate from Krishna. We want to enjoy. So this soul, the voice which we are getting, is under influence of the intelligence, but the soul is also giving consent to that voice. How? Because soul is conditioned. Soul is conditioned. Our decisions are based on our mode of material nature. We know that a person in goodness would resist from taking any kind of intoxicants, where a person in ignorance would like to consume as much as possible at his free will. So basically, our conditioning soul is pure, pristine, eternal. It is without any bad quality. It is because it is part of Lord Krishna, but it becomes conditioned based on our mode of material nature. And this is that chapter we are going to talk. In fact, the next chapter, the chapter number 14, is based on 3 modes of material nature only. I hope I have been able to answer your question, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Any other doubt or observation about today's chapter? Because this topic is going to be discussed at length in next chapter, the 3 modes of material nature. Prabhuji or Mataji, is anyone? Can anybody, can any devotee summarize what 6 questions were today? 6 questions of Arjuna. Any 1, 2, 3, 4?
What is Kshetra?
Kshetra, yes.
What is Kshetragya?
Very nice.
What is Jnana?
Yes.
What is Gyayam?
Gayam, yes, Prabhuji, very nice. 4.
Prakriti and Purush.
And Purush and Prakriti. So to remember this thing, just remember there are 2K, 2J, 2Ps. 2K is Kshetra and Kshetrakya. 2P, Prakriti and Purush. And 2J is Jnana and Gayam, the object of knowledge. Right? So these are 6 questions. And field of activity is our Kshetra, or Kshetrak is the one who knows about the field of activity. So there are 2 Gayam. One is Kshetragya. There are 2 Kshetragya. One is the individual Kshetragya who knows about his field of activity or body. And there is Supreme Knower, who is Kshetragya, who knows the bodies of all living entities. Similarly, Prakriti is creation of Lord Krishna, which is eternal, beginningless. Nobody knows why he created. He created Prakriti so that we can enjoy based on our desire and mode of material nature. And what is Purush? Prakriti. Purush is the enjoyer. Enjoyer are 2 again. One is individual enjoyer, and the other enjoyer is supreme enjoyer. Bhoktaram Yagitapsam Sarvloke Mahesha. Lord said that I am the supreme enjoyer of all the austerities and penances that you perform. So supreme enjoyer, the Purush, there are 2 Purush, individual enjoyer, and the supreme enjoyer, Lord Krishna. And there is Gyan and Jnanam. What is the knowledge? Knowledge is the knowledge of material, that material body is distinct from soul and super soul. And material body is made of 24 elements, whereas soul and super soul, they are fragments of Lord Krishna. They are divine and transcendental to 3 modes of material nature. But they get contaminated with material nature. They do not, they means only soul. Super soul is nothing to do. Super soul is Anumanta and Updrashtas. He overseer, it oversees everything like a loving father. If soul wants to do something, lovingly permits the soul to do according, because Lord has given soul minute independence to act, choose his own way. That is why we choose to do bad things. We don't want to get up at 4 in the morning. We don't want to chant 16 rounds. At your level, it is expected that at least 1 round you are chanting daily. So it may sound initially a bit difficult when you start something new, but we must chant at least 1 round per day. So at this level, but I'm sure many of you must be chanting more than 1 round per day, I'm sure. So these are 6 questions and beautifully answered by Lord Krishna in a philosophical manner, in a logical manner, and how this living entities interacting with the soul and super soul, and what is the role of soul, what is the role of super soul, and how this living entity or material body wants to enjoy the material nature, because Lord's abode is transcendental, doesn't have anything material. Everything is transcendental there. But for material living entities, because we are made of 24 elements of material nature, for creation of this material body, material nature was created by Lord, and also many other items in material nature or Prakriti were created so that we can enjoy enjoy our own enjoyment for our own soul and forgetting Krishna, our relationship with Krishna, and not working for the enjoyment of super soul or the Krishna's interest. So that is our state. We have forgotten our relationship. We have forgotten when we were in the womb of our mother. We were crying, why, Lord, you have sent us this condition, in this wretched condition, floating in the, floating in a fluid, not able to breathe, dependent on mother for water, food, and breathing, everything. And when we come out, we forget about our relationship with God, and we want to enjoy independent of Krishna. So that is our state of affairs. So material nature is not responsible for our suffering or enjoyment. We are responsible for our suffering and enjoyment. Sometimes we blame God, why bad things are happening to a person, good person, why? But we do not know this person, how good he is, what he had been carrying, what kind of baggage he had been carrying from previous karmas. So this is very philosophical, but I think first part we have covered today up to verse number 21, and tomorrow we will cover the remaining part. Is that agreeable? Now, any other question, or shall we close now, Prabhuji, Mataji? Matajis do not interact much. They don't ask questions. Okay. Anyway, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.